Hello everyone, welcome to channel Qtomation. In the last session we have seen how to read the data from Excel file. Today we will see how to write the data into Excel file. It is again very simple. So what we will do is, let's say we have one empty blank sheet. So we have let's say we have one blank sheet, and in that Excel sheet we want to write the data. So we want to write the data. So let's say I will just go to desktop, and on the desktop I have one file. Let's say my new file.xlsx. I am just opening this file, and currently this file is totally empty. There is no data in this file. And if you see the sheet name, test file 1, this is the sheet name. So what we will do is, we want to write the data into this sheet. We will write, so for that first step is, how many rows and columns, means how many cells we want to write. Let's say I want to write 4 columns and 7 rows. I want to fill the data in 4 columns and 7 rows. A, B, C, D, this is the columns, and 1, 2, 7, these are the rows. So I want to fill the data in the 4 columns and 7 rows. So how we can do that? So I will just close this file. So remember, we have to close that. We want to fill the data in rows and columns, right? So 4 rows and 7 columns. So these many data which we want to fill. So first we will see how we can fill the same data in all these cells. I am just closing this file. What is the sheet name? Test file 1. I am just minimizing it. Now what we will do is, we will go back to PyCharm. Let's create a new Python file. Data writing to Excel demo. So we have created a Python file, and again we want to use openpyxl module for that. So in the previous session we have already seen how we can import openpyxl module. So we have to first install the openpyxl module in our project. So let's import it. So I have already installed it. Now I have to just import openpyxl module. After that we have to just remember the steps. Again the same one, file can contain workbook, and this workbook containing sheet. Sheet can be a single. So currently which we have created the workbook which contains only one sheet. That was my test file 1, and sheet will contain cells. The next step is just similar to reading the data. What was the first step there? We have to first locate that file. So file equals to file path which we have to provide. So in which file we have to write the data. So this is the file, my new file. Right click on it, copy the path. Let's provide that path here. So this is the path of that file in which we want to write the data. So this is the first step. After that we want to load the workbook. So we have one method, openpyxl.load workbook, and in this we have to provide this file path. So I am just passing this file path, and we can store it in one variable. Let's say workbook is the variable with which we are storing it. After storing it, what is the next step? Up to the sheet. So I will just create one variable, sheet equals to, now there is only one sheet. So we have seen while reading the data there were multiple sheets. So when there are more than one sheet, how we have used like this, workbook, and we have provided the name of the sheet, my test file 1. So we can do like this as well. We can use any method. So this is the first approach, or first way we can create the sheet here. We can locate our sheet here, or we can use one more way, that is, let's say sheet equals to workbook dot active. So both are kind of a similar. So if there is only one sheet, we can also use like this. We can, instead of giving the sheet name, we can use like this as well, workbook.active. If there is only one sheet, so currently this file is containing only one sheet, so we can also use sheet equals to workbook.active. But if there are multiple sheets, we have to use like this. We have to use and we have to pass the sheet name here. But since there is only one sheet, you can use any one method. So if there is only one sheet, we can use like this, or yeah, like this as well. If there is only one sheet, then we can use any one of these two lines. We can use anyway. So if there are multiple sheets, we have to use like this. We have to use pass the test sheet name here. So now since there is only one sheet, I am simply using sheet equals to workbook.active. So it will locate that sheet in which we want to write the data. Now after that, we can again use for loops. So we have to provide the row number and column number in which we want to populate the data. So I will simply use for r in range function. It will start with 1, and how many rows we want to fill? Let's say I want to fill 7 rows. So if you want to fill the 7 rows, we have to provide value of 8, because we are using range function. It will iterate from 1 to 7. That's why we are providing the end value as 8 for rows. And then we can use for c in range function. This is for columns. Again, first column, and let's say I want to fill the value up to 3 columns. So we have to provide 4 here, plus 1. So it will fill 7 rows and 3 columns. And then what is the next step? Sheet.cell method we have to use. Sheet.cell, in which we have to pass the value of row and c, that is column, and we want to write the data. So we have to use .value method. If you remember, for reading also we have used the same steps. Only difference is, when we were reading the data, we were just reading this value, right? So we were just reading this value, but now we want to write the data as well. So what is the step here? So sheet.cell, row number, column number .value, and then we have to assign the value here. So I am just assigning the value of, let's say, hello. So it will write this hello into all the sheets which are present inside 7 rows and 3 columns. It will write the data in that. That's it. So if you run this file now, but one more step, important step is remaining. So far what we are doing, we are locating the file, we are loading the workbook, we are locating the sheet from that workbook, we are writing the data in rows and columns, means in the cells we are writing the data, but we are not saving it, right? So that data after writing, we are still not saving it. So very important step is, we have to save that data as well. So for that, after coming out of this for loop, we have to use one method, workbook dot save, and in this method we have to pass this file. So in this we have to pass this file, then it will store that data. So it will, after writing, it will store that data, it will save that data. If you don't provide this line, up to this point it will write the data, but again it will not save, it will just save the blank sheet one more time. So data will not be saved if you don't provide this line. Now if you execute this file, and also we have to close this file, don't keep the file open. Let's close this file. Currently that was totally empty, there was no data present in that sheet. And if you execute this file now, let's see the output. Now file will get successfully executed. If you see, file is executed. Now let's open this file and let's see whether the data is written into that file or not. So I'm just opening this file. So let's open this file, and if you see, we have successfully written the data up to 7 rows and 3 columns. But if you see, the data is same, right? So by using for loop, we can provide the same data in multiple rows and multiple columns. Now let's say if I want to give the different data. I want to provide the data which is different in every cell. For example, let's say employee details like employee ID, employee name, employee age, 2 3 employee, right? So I want to fill the different data in every cell. How we can do that? So I'm just closing this file, or let's delete this data. I'm just deleting this data. We can successfully write the same data. So we have successfully written the same data in the test file 1. Now we will see how we can fill the different data in different cells. So let's close this file. So if you want to fill the different data, then we cannot use the for loops. I am just commenting this for loop. Now I want to fill the different data. Let's say, so what I will do is, in this sheet I want to fill the different data. So for that we have to use sheet.cell. First we have to decide how many rows and columns we want to fill. So let's say I want to fill 3 rows and 3 columns. So I will just use sheet.cell. In the first row, in first column, dot value equals to, let's say, name. This is for first row and first column, that means first cell. Then we will fill first row and second column, that is, let's say, age, and then first row third column. First row third column value which we are providing is, let's say, name, age and ID. Name, age and ID. This is for first row first column, first row second column, first row third column. It will write that data in there. After that I want to go to next row. So what we can do, just change second row first column, second row second column, second row third column. Let's provide name as, let's say, Jack, age is 33, let's say ID is 001. This will fill the data in second row. Then we can also fill the data in third row as well. So I will just write third row first column, third row second column, third row third column. Let's provide, let's say, John, age is 43, ID is 002. So what it will do is, it will write the data, different data this time. If you see, it will write the different data in different cells now. So for that we don't have to use the for loop. We are again saving this file, and in the same sheet we will populate this data now. Let's execute this file now. So let's run this file. It will write the data. So now let's go back to the sheet. Let's open the sheet. This is our sheet in which we have written the data. Let's see if it is successfully written the data or not. If you see, it has provided the data here. Name, age and ID. Name, age and ID. Name, age and ID. So this time the data is different in every cell. So these are the steps to write the data into Excel file. If you want to write the same data, then we can use for loop. Otherwise we have to use like this. We can provide the data like this. So this is how we can successfully write the data into Excel file. So far we have seen how to read the data as well, how to write the data as well. Now in the next session we will see how we can utilize it for data driven testing by using Selenium and Python. So thanks for watching this video. If you like my video, kindly like it and subscribe to my channel. It always motivates me. Thank you everyone.